Welcome to the 47th episode of the Mayor's Mixtape. I'm Haley Sue Robinson, Director of Public Affairs for the City of Pueblo.
I'm Heather Graham, City of Pueblo Mayor.
I'm Lynn Clark, the Executive Director of the Riverwalk.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Lynn.
It's great to be here.
Yeah,
I've watched quite a few episodes, so I was very flattered to be asked.
So now you get to be a guest. Yeah. And now you'll get to watch yourself.
Great.
I know. That's why I said that. I want to remind the listener you can find our podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch it on local Channel 17. And so there are lots of opportunities to listen and share. If you have questions or a topic suggestion, you can email us at mayor@pueblo.us. So Lynn, thanks for joining us this morning. We have you on the mixtape because we have a lot of updates happening at the Riverwalk. And so we felt like this was a really good time to maybe talk about it. One of the big announcements we saw last week from you all was the extension is open.
It is.
The fencing came down.
Yes. We talked to the general contractor, Houston Construction, and they said they were ready to pull that fencing. And I was like, the weather's beautiful. Let's do it. Yeah. There's still some fencing up around the building. We're not completed like inside the building, but now the public can enjoy like everything that we've built all winter. And it's the perfect time to come out. We've seen a lot of activity because our current office is right there on that extension. So it's been fun to, like, even the dogs get to come and play in the new area. A lot of positive comments. And the really cool thing is it opens up the view to Santa Fe Avenue, which is a state highway. So we're planning on some really fun signage there in the future and just kind of announce to people coming through. It's like, we have this great amenity in Pueblo. You need to find a parking spot and come on down and walk.
Yeah. So folks who are not super familiar with the project, let's walk us through what is the fourth phase of the Channel Extension and the Boathouse project.
So the fourth phase includes, that beautiful turnaround that heads towards Santa Fe. The alignment of that channel is super specific that in the future, if we have any source of funding or the will to continue the Riverwalk down towards Runyon Lake, that is where that channel needs to sit to go either under or through Santa Fe Avenue. Like there's a lot that has to happen to do that, but it was very specific about its location. The boathouse, that was in the original master plan 30 years ago. That this gives us the opportunity to store our boats in a safe place. The wear and tear on them, is incredible when you leave them in the weather year-round. We have a beautiful public concession area that, you'll see the breezeway between the main building and the elevator. Come on in. We've got public restrooms. You can buy tickets, snacks, drinks, sit down for a minute, chat. We're going to do some interesting things in that space about the history of the Riverwalk. We've got a couple of different TVs. We can run video and educate people about the construction back in the day. Cool. If you're of a certain age, you don't remember what downtown was like before we built this. If you come upstairs to the second floor, we have a conference center. It holds 32 people that you can contact my office and rent that space for a meeting. We've got plenty of space for a caterer to come in and drop down prepared food for a breakfast or lunch if you're doing a meeting. We're going to coordinate with the convention center and others if they need an extra breakout room. It's a big opportunity for the community to come in and present this is what we've got. If you're trying to entice business into town, it's a beautiful view of the Riverwalk and Gateway Park. And it's pretty impressive when you're standing inside that building. So, if you need a place to, make those sort of things happen, then I would recommend that you talk to us about that conference center. If you go upstairs to the third floor, this is like the icing on the cake place. This is a beautiful outdoor deck venue, 125 to 150 people. You can bring your own caterer. So any business in town that has, all their licensing squared away, they got the health department certification, and they paid their sales tax, they can come and cater.
Most important.
Yeah.
I like that.
We want to do good business with good businesses, right? And I think it's a big opportunity for restaurants, and Pueblo has favorite foods. So if your family's doing a celebration, my staff, we're not in the food business, right? We're
Right.
going to help you arrange your event. We're going to, support you through that. But you pick your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, and have them cater it. We have applied for a liquor license in the building through the Harp Authority, so we'll have full service liquor within the building footprint. We do have alcohol sales on our cruise boats, so that's a separate license. And, in our application, we have to delineate where we can have the liquor in the building, where the boats can be with their liquor and storage. So we've got that squared away. So we're looking at, booking for the conference center and for the rooftop already. We're using that Civic Rec Plus, or whatever you call it, in our office too. So if you go to the website, puebloriverwalk.org, you'll find information there on how to book an event, and get in touch with Shayla Keys in my office, that she can guide you through that, how that works. So it's a really fun place, and we're going to run tours through the building once we get open. We'll put out signboards like Tours Today, because I really want the public to see how valuable this space is. It's so unique,
Right.
and it took so long to get it here, that I want them to feel like it belongs to them too.
Because it does.
It does. It does. I want them to feel comfortable, and I want them to engage with us there. So,
you talked about the incredible view. I think one of the other things is the incredible view now from I-25. That's one of the things that, as you were in the middle of construction, that was so surprising to me, was just how prominent it is now. When you're driving on I-25, you see that big signage that says Pueblo Riverwalk, and it's like this invitation to come downtown. So I think that's another really impressive view too. One thing that's also very impressive, Mayor, I think this is probably your favorite thing to talk about when it comes to this project in particular, is the funding. There's been a lot of criticism about how the city spent our funds to fund this project, when in reality there were a lot of partners that were part of it. So I think you explained it very well, but can you walk us through the funding?
I lost my job over this boathouse. But the reality is this was a project that the community voted on many, many years ago. And unfortunately, because of the time frame when the vote took place on the 1A ballot measure to fund, I think, upwards of 20 different projects within Pueblo County as a whole, things were a lot less expensive, right?
Right.
So when I first got on city council, I sat on the Harps board. It was a big talking point during the meetings about this new boathouse that we were going to get, and the majority of the funding was going to come from a ballot measure that had passed many years ago. A check was in the mail.
2016?
2016.
Yeah.
Check was in the mail, and everything was, going to get started. City purchased the Ferguson property for $1.2 million in order to put this boathouse on there. And then kind of when push came to shove, not all of the money was accounted for to complete the entire project. So we had to get creative. We had some revenue from ARPA dollars that could be used for wastewater projects. So we used some other regular ARPA dollars because this is a city asset, so it could come back to the city. And then we also scored a $1 million grant from DOLA with a $1 million fund balance from the city. So the only city dollars that were used out of our general fund was $1 million for a $16 million asset. And then the house and sales tax picked up $3 million of the rest of the funding. And it's because this project falls under the Regional Tourism Act. So it's a great project. I'm happy that it's finally going to come to fruition. I think it's what the community wanted, and it's what the community is going to get. And so I'm looking forward to the opening.
And we also had some funding that came from Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority, and then some private donations from the Harp Foundation and the fundraising there. So I think that's the other piece is, Lynn, you talk a lot about how this is a community asset. but it also was a community project. There were so many folks that came together to fund it. And so, you know, when you say you want folks to be able to tour and take pride in it, there are so many people that have taken pride in downtown and invested in it. And so it's no wonder that you want to show it off and help people feel like, hey, this is yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Hart Foundation raised about $700,000. So all the equipment and furniture within the building is paid for by private donations and grants, because we also had some of the big grant makers come out and help us, Betcher and El Pomar, Gates, several others. They were very excited about this project, and it's, you know, we've done other projects at the Riverwalk in the 15 years I've been there. This one just had a heightened sense of this is the right project for them to fund. So that was very encouraging. And then all the people in Pueblo, it's like from $5 donations to $50,000 donations. It just, there was just a lot of motivation in the community to make it happen. It took 4 years to raise the money.
Yeah.
So I, you know, hats off to my board of directors, you know, at the authority and the foundation. It took a lot of energy from them to call upon their peers and friends and family to make those the private donations happen.
So speaking of collaboration, Lynn, we had another announcement just recently that you all were named for the Downtown Excellence Award with Downtown Colorado, Inc. As a finalist that specifically recognizes innovation, collaboration, and lasting community impact. So we won't technically find out if we won until April, but talk a little bit about why this recognition is important. And I know, Mayor, you're excited to attend the conference in April. And so I just thought that was a really exciting announcement.
It really is. I mean, I think it's a signal to Pueblo that we're on the right track, right? Southern Colorado, we're a little different than Rocky Mountain High, right? So what do we have? What can we create? And we're down here thinking and planning and developing, but everybody is. Everybody does that, right? Every city wants to be innovative and come up with something. And a long time ago, we figured out that we had this enormous resource in water, and we created an urban waterfront. And when we start building upon what we started, you know, having an extension that goes close to a state highway, we've got this beautiful building that's multi-purpose, and the rest of the state, these people that serve on the DCI board and they nominate and then they review the projects, when they look at our project and say, wow, we need to really look at this one, I think that's just, you know, it's really important to us down here, but it really does make a comment on that we are developing good works down here, good projects, and it's good for our community, and it's interesting to people outside Pueblo County. I think it's really nice to have state recognition because we don't always give ourselves the credit we should down here. So I think everybody in town, you need to like pat yourself on the back and say, you know, I've got cool stuff in my city. And really celebrate those things. And it's not just the Riverwalk. Like I said in that State of the City video, we have so many cool things here that let's be a little prouder. Like people are talking about us, and that really excites me.
That kind of seems to be a theme, Mayor, with some of our guests that come on the mixtape, is that folks feel like we need to speak more highly of ourselves and we need to brag about ourselves more. So maybe we're onto something.
Maybe.
Okay, Lynn, we can't talk about the boathouse and this project without me asking, do you have a date of when the boathouse will be open?
I'm going to say third week of March.
Ooh, okay.
Watch your calendars. We're going to make an announcement. I've got a couple of things to pull together. When you're building a project with, you know, like that has a building, you have to get a temporary certificate of occupancy or a certificate of occupancy. So there's a lot of inspections that need to happen. We've got a few details to finish up. As soon as I can get a TCO or a CO, the furniture can be delivered, which would be the end of February. And once the furniture's in, the whole place will take shape inside. I need a couple of days to get the staff comfortable so I know how to lock and unlock doors. I mean, turn the lights on, right? So I think, that third week of March looks really, really good. The weather will be good. It's spring break.
Yep.
You just, keep your ears open for a big announcement. We want to have a big crowd there. I want the community to feel like this was worth it. Come and see it. Come enjoy it. Let us talk to you about how you get to use this space. It's just an incredible asset for all of us, not just the city, but, Pueblo County. Like, come and see the building and the rest of the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
So third week of March.
Okay. We'll check out probably Facebook, maybe Instagram.
Yes.
They'll probably be on the news. I bet it'll be everywhere, to be honest. We'll of course be sharing it as well.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all
This is our RSVP right now.
If you're watching the mixtape,
Yeah.
you are invited.
Yeah.
Like, please come, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, show up.
Great.
So,
Mayor, can you tell us why the Riverwalk is important to you and why the completion of Phase 4 development is important for Pueblo?
Sure. I mean, this is the gem of our community. It's free. Anybody can come down and you can enjoy live music during the summer. You have great restaurants. It's clean. It's safe. It's a place for all. I mean, you have kids. The Harp Authority sponsors field trips works with sponsors to have field trips and to have kiddos come down from school, and like sometimes it's their first time they've ever been to the Riverwalk. And to have an amenity like that running right through our downtown just creates a synergy that I think everybody should be a part of. I think that it's a great asset to our community. And completing now Phase 4 just shows us how willing people are to continue to invest into Pueblo's downtown and the Riverwalk.
Great. Well, I know we're excited about the official invitation and announcement, so we'll look for that in March. Anything else you want to tell us about the Riverwalk, Lynn, while we have you?
When's the water going back in? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Thursday, just in
Look,
time for
we're really-
Valentine's Day.
We're in the know.
I've been getting a lot of questions. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
When are they going to put the water? I said, well, after they clean all the sludge.
Yeah, we cleaned the sludge,
Yeah.
and then the general contractors had to go back in and do some caulking within the new channel space.
Oh, sure.
And we're ready to roll. So Board of Waterworks will come out there and assist on Thursday, and it fills up pretty quickly. So
It really does.
It's like always the busiest time of the year at the Riverwalk. I know that sounds weird 'cause it's not the middle of summer, but like as when you have 70 degrees and it's springtime and people are itching to get out. I mean, you can barely walk the channel because there's so many people who are just trying to enjoy the springtime and the nice weather. So
right,
I'm excited.
and and we're revving up for our regular season activities. So if you watch our Facebook page and our website, we're going to do all the things that we've been doing, and a lot of it's family. It's all family friendly. We do movie nights. We the boats open in May. In July, we're going to do 4th of July. We're going to do the River Fest with the the motorcycles and the stunt dudes and the jet skis and all that kind of stuff. So
right in the middle of downtown.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's the other thing that's crazy about that event.
It is.
You just mentioned jet skis and motorcycles all at the Riverwalk in downtown.
Yes, and we do a build your own boat race during that River Fest.
Yes.
And I really think if your company or your organization has not heard about it, you need to build a boat. Come on down. We give out great prizes. We had some crazy boats last year, and it was so much fun. It's like if you want to,
It's good team building.
Excellent team building.
Helps you work on your communication and maybe your patience.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, a couple of my staff members did boats too, and we didn't win, but we floated.
Okay,
right? So that was important.
You didn't drown.
I didn't drown. The first year I did it, I did not drown.
It's also pretty hard to actually drown in the Riverwalk.
It's only 3.5 feet of water.
Right.
So, but just watch our socials and our website for all the activities, because we're trying to come up with more fun things too. And if someone has a great idea, hit me up. Let me know. We could try it.
Great. That's exciting. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're excited for the Boathouse to officially open. We're very excited about the nomination for the Downtown Excellence Award, and we'll be excited to hopefully announce maybe that we won in April. But we really appreciate you coming on and telling us about the project and all the details and the funding, and helping people understand that this is our asset, or Mayor, as you talk about, like, this is our gem, our crown jewel in the middle of downtown. So very exciting, and thank you for having the time to come with us.
Of course, it was my pleasure to come and talk to you all. You've been very supportive of the Riverwalk, and we aim to do an excellent job down there for the city of Pueblo and the citizens. That is our goal.
Great. All right. So very happy that we had Lynn on. Mayor, something that came up last night at the city council meeting, which, by the way, it was our first time having a regular city council meeting at 5:30. We did have a work session after, but different format than folks are used to. But something that came up last night that you wanted to discuss was grant funding. And I think that's really important. That's something that the city's been really successful with.
Very successful.
You mentioned it regarding the funding, actually, that we just talked about for the Riverwalk. But the city's seen some pretty impressive grants recently. One in particular was the RAISE grant, over $16 million for the West Side Connector, or the West Side Improvement Project. That's actually something that we have a notice of availability open right now about that. And then even more impressive, in December, to end the year, we celebrated the largest grant in the city's history, which included both federal and state funding for public transit. But I thought I'd give you the opportunity to talk to us about grants, how it's important for the city, and maybe some of the success that we've had with grant funding.
Sure, yeah. So Councilor Gomez last night made some comments about the city and the city's ability to successfully be awarded grant dollars. And he mentioned some very specific grants.
Sure.
So I want to talk about those the very specific grants. And what Councilor Gomez mentioned is that the city does not apply for these grants, nor have we received these grants.
Sure.
So specifically was the RAISE grant, which
Right.
I was surprised to hear, because as you just stated, the city did receive a $16 million RAISE grant recently. And which we're doing everything that we need to do right now, kind of in the due diligence phase, before we start putting those dollars into where they need to be. Another grant that he specifically mentioned was a Safe Streets for All grant.
Sure.
The city receives hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in Safe Streets for All. So that sometimes that goes into transit, sometimes that goes into public works, sometimes that goes into the police department. So
one last year that we had that we completed some work was over at El Centro, the updated parking. So I don't know if folks who are maybe not familiar with that area, but you used to be able to just like parallel park along, and there really wasn't great parking available. It's in an area where you have the skateboard park, you have the community center, you have a playground. It's right by Nick's Dairy Cream. It's a really popular area, but not a lot of parking. And so we actually received a Safe Streets for All grant. So now we have diagonal parking, which I think added an additional like 16 parking spaces, updated ADA, curb and gutter. That was a Safe Streets for All grant. We've also had quite a few with the school districts, Monument Avenue, helping with crosswalks and safety.
Just recently, yeah.
Those are what I can remember in like just the last 2 years.
Yeah, so the city's been very successful in receiving RAISE grant, Safe Streets for All. The Home ARP dollars, that was also a grant that was brought up.
Sure.
Pretty soon the city council is going to be seeing a proposal to use those home ARP dollars for the shelter. So, we were awarded those grant dollars. We are going to be putting them into use. HUD funding was also mentioned, that
Sure.
we don't apply for HUD dollars, and in fact, the city receives a lot of HUD funding.
Okay.
The $1.4 million that the city gets every single year is our allocation that we then distribute to nonprofits
Sure.
within the community. The shelter, we do curb and gutter. So that's a yearly HUD funding grant that we receive through CDBG. The city is also applying for a DOLA grant currently.
Okay.
For the shelter, $1 million DOLA grant, the same grant that we talked about earlier with Lynn and the RTCC that we were successfully awarded in the last 2 years. So the city is doing a very good job when it comes to grants. And
Well, I do want to make a delineation about the DOLA grant that you just mentioned. So we received the $1 million for the Riverwalk, but then in the same calendar year, this was in your first year as mayor, we also received another $1 million, and that was for the Real Time Crime Center to stand up more technology there. So 2 separate $1 million awards from DOLA.
yeah, I think that's measured high in success. And then we're going for our third one right now, so
Okay.
hopefully 3 for 3 we'll be getting. But I have some numbers to share with the community just in 23, 24, and 25. So the city applied for 99 different grants in 2023.
Okay.
We successfully secured $27,703,000. In 2024, we applied for 86 grants. We received $40,273,000. And as of third quarter, so this is before our transit grant of 2025, the city had successfully received $27,309,000. So,
And the transit grant is 19
fourth quarter,
million.
yes.
Yeah.
So, by my calculations, the city of Pueblo in the last 3 years has received over $100 million in grant funding. And we have one grant writer at the city of Pueblo, and she does a fantastic job in securing grants that are actually going to make a difference, because that's the other part, right?
Sure.
We don't just want to be writing grants that the city has to do significant infrastructure or capital matches. We just don't have that type of funding. So when we look at what grants we're going to go after, it has to be very strategically thought that, can this project get done within this calendar year? Do we have the staff? Do we have the grant match that they're asking for? Do we check all of the boxes? And is this going to actually be a productive grant?
Sure.
So that's something that the grant writer and I meet about every 2 weeks. We have a very thorough discussion. And as you can see, the city has been very, very successful since 2023. These are just 3 years of numbers that I pulled.
Sure.
Over $100 million in successfully obtaining grant dollars just for the city of Pueblo.
And when we also talk about that, so those grant dollars, when we talk about budget, they also help supplement projects that we could not otherwise fund out of the general fund. So like Safe Streets for All, the curb and gutter, and the paving is maybe not something that we could necessarily fund out of our capital improvement project budget line item. And so I think those things are also important for folks to understand is, when we talk about budget and having a budget shortfall or, having to prioritize the way that we spend, you've mentioned that having those conversations with our grant writer helps us fill in the gaps of where we're not able to fund out of our general fund.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a very strategic plan that we have to put forward. Like we're planning right now for next year and what we might be looking at applying for. And not to mention in 2025 with the federal government, the city, we would have been applying for more grants.
Sure.
But the federal government
unfortunately
had shutdowns, revoking of grant dollars, revoking of funding. And so to successfully secure $27 million by the end of third quarter from local and state, not even federal matches, that's pretty incredible.
Absolutely. Okay, great. I'm glad you shared those numbers with us. That's important.
I thought that they were important because I do not want the citizens of Pueblo to believe that we are not doing everything in our absolute power to make sure that we are applying for grants that are going to make a difference in our community.
Great. Awesome. Speaking of grants, you mentioned the RAISE grant. Yesterday, we just announced the availability of the environmental assessment, and that's for the proposed Sun Mountain Boulevard project, which specifically is part of the RAISE grant, and that's the new roadway connection between 24th Street and 31st Street. And it includes 2 intersections to improve the west side connection. You can check out this document. You can visit our planning department here in the city. We also have a copy of this notice of environmental availability at the Rawlings Library. It's open for 30 days. It's also available online at pueblo.us/westside improvements. And we have comments that will be accepted. So that's one of the things that's required of our due diligence with the RAISE grant. And those comments are open through March 13th of this year. Couple upcoming events, Mayor. We have the Building Back Bessemer Town Hall next Thursday. And that will be with the city and Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority to talk about some of the projects that you've mentioned recently and get some feedback from some folks. That will be Thursday, February 19th from 6 to 8 at the Steelworks Center of the West, which is located at 215 Canal Street. So we want to invite you to come and learn about Building Back Bessemer and have some opportunities to ask questions and maybe give us some input of what else you'd like to see in Bessemer as well. So a lot of exciting things coming up. Anything else that we need to know, Mayor?
No, I mean, last night we had we saw our first resolutions that were presented to the city council, requested by our lobbyists, right?
Oh, yes.
About things that they believe the city should oppose, take under consideration to have the city fight legislation from afar. So this is something that we've been doing for the last couple of years, being very involved in legislation. It makes a huge impact in our community when things at the state are happening that the city of Pueblo does not agree with.
Right.
So I think there was 4 resolutions that were brought forward to city council last night. I have to say that I was surprised by some of the votes. They barely passed. And so if you are a advocate of the Pueblo Police Department or public safety, I think it's very important that you pay attention to how city councilors are voting when it comes to legislation that's going to impact our community. We continuously hear about the crime rate, stats, what can we do, how do we put people in jail, what technology are we using, and these specific bills that Chief Knoller spoke about last night could be detrimental to our real-time crime center. So we have invested millions of dollars in this technology. And I had city council people last night who are pro-public safety vote to go against these bills. And so I think what we're going to start doing now is when these bills come forward to the city council, we're going to make sure that the community knows who's opposing, who's in favor, and really trying to also get the community involved in testifying at hearings, submitting letters. We get calls like that to the office all the time. Hey, where can I find the bills? Where do I sign up? What does this mean? What will it do when it comes to public safety, when it comes to housing, when it comes to our rights as a home rule authority community? And so I think that for this year, it's going to be very important that we make sure the public is very well aware of what your council people are supporting and not supporting, and how that's going to impact crime in our community. So stay tuned.
I think another thing that you brought up last night that was discussed was, some folks had asked for maybe a little bit more time for consideration. And one thing that we have learned is that how quickly this goes. Yep. And so, last night, it was the 9th of February. The next time we have a regular meeting that they could vote in favor or opposition for legislation would be the 23rd of February. And so we also just see how quickly this discussion happens. And so it's important to get these things in front of council and, to your point, in front of the public to make a decision of how they want to testify in support or opposition of legislation.
Yeah, it's super important. We pay a lobbyist. We want the lobbyist advocating on things that are going to be important to the community. into the city, and I think that it's important that the public realizes, right? Because here we are saying, "Oh, this stuff is all happening up in Denver, and there's nothing we can do about it." But the reality is, what happened last night is happening on your dais in the city of Pueblo.
Sure.
And I think that the citizens should be made aware of what's going on.
Sure. We do have a recap every Tuesday after City Council, so we let folks know. But also, you can go online and you can click right on our website. We have trending links, and it says City Council agenda. And when you click on there, you can actually go in and see how folks voted. If it was 7-0, if it was 5-2, if it was 4-3, you can look at those specifics and find those things out as well.
And maybe it's for the public to then call your city councilor and say, hey, like, this is important to our community. It's important to our police department. It's important to public safety overall. Like, can you explain yourself?
Sure.
Or next time, can you take into consideration how that's going to impact us as a whole?
Okay, great. Yeah. Thanks for that encouragement.
You're welcome.
Okay. I want to remind the listener you can find our podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on local channel 17. And if you have questions or topic suggestions, you can email us, mayor@pueblo.us, and we will see you next week.